Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing some more Harry Potter fun. We're going to be making Hagrid's hut from the movies and the book, but we're going to base it on this photo from the movies, and I'll also use this reference photo as well. Let's get to it. So I'm using the same path as I've been using for the rest of my island this winter. The edges look very rounded to me, so it's like this path has been carved through the snow rather than it being an official path, if that makes any sense. It's not the path in the ground, but rather the path that people have walked through the snow. I really like that about it. According to the picture, Hagrid has this big pumpkin patch on the side, which I'm going to start doing here. And his pumpkin patch is kind of a big pile of pumpkins, which I wasn't sure what to do, whether or not to do a kind of natural farm looking area where they're in rows, or whether to do a big kind of, not mess, but a kind of random pile of the different pumpkin items from Halloween, which we will use a lot of in this build. Thank goodness for the Halloween update. Otherwise this definitely would not have been possible. It's really weird for me to see my island so flat. I don't think I've ever flattened my island completely, which I haven't again here, but I've flattened the entirety of the background here, as you can see, except that one staircase that I didn't have time to get rid of. I start putting the trees in here to give it some atmosphere. Also, I will eventually be doing a forbidden forest behind here, which will probably have places like Aragog's nest, maybe an area like in the third movie for the hippogriffs. This Christmas I rewatched a bunch of Harry Potter movies, including the third one. I really like the aesthetics of that scene. I think I will make a small area like it behind, as well as Aragog's scarier area. That's the plan anyway. I'm starting to add some more items now, just things that I think Hagrid would use, like the DIY area and a bucket of water and a little stove, which is in the original picture, which actually has a rabbit on in the original picture of it, which is next to where Buckbeak is. Also, I try and add some rocks here, as you can see. I don't really like the colour of any of the rocks. It makes them really stand out. They're much darker than the snow and the path. Also, they're different types of rocks, so they don't even match each other, which is frustrating. I love this like little puddle custom design. In winter, it looks like a little frozen puddle. I love it so much. I'll try and put down all of the custom design codes that I use in this video down in the description below. Also some bushes, just to give it a bit of a different height and a bit more kind of greenery. I tried using these flowers, but it all just looked too pretty for what it looks like in the movies and in my head from the books. I tried out some bricks here, which I think feels very Harry Potter aesthetic, but it just, again, didn't work with the pathing. So I think that kind of brick will be used more in Diagon Alley, the castle itself, when I eventually make that. So I just wanted to add a lot of texture because it's quite a messy area, Hagrid's hut. It's quite wild, quite unkempt, I would say. Again, we have lots of weeds, just to add that kind of grassy nature that's in the picture. Although a lot of Harry Potter has got snow, like in every movie there's at least one snowy scene because each movie is a year, so it's good to show time passing really, and it's set kind of in Scotland, most of it, where they do have quite a bit of snow. So yeah, I am going to do a big pile of pumpkins in that big area, but I thought as I can't add like the second part of Hagrid's hut, I would add a kind of farm pumpkin patch, as if this is where they're growing, but then the big pile is where he stores the ones that are done growing. I don't know much about growing pumpkins, to be honest. I've never actually grown pumpkins myself. But do they grow in a big pile like that? I know that they grow kind of in a similar way to that, but do they really grow in a huge pile like that? Is that what they're supposed to look like they're growing? Or did he just pick them all? I'm confused. But yeah, using the two different kinds of soil so that it doesn't merge into one big blob. And we've got a bunch of different kinds of pumpkins in either one stack growing or 2 stacks. I know you can do 3, but I kind of like the look of 2 instead. I'm really craving some delicious spiced pumpkin soup right now. Darn you, pumpkins. And I have 2 different scarecrows. The scarecrow that's like a normal scarecrow, I actually like the aesthetic of that one better, but if you look at the movie, he's got a scarecrow with a pumpkin for a head, so the spooky one it's just got to be. And I experimented with using this giant spooky carriage, but it was just too big. It was just too big, unfortunately. I think I could have made it work, but it wouldn't have looked as kind of random. It would have looked a lot less natural and a lot more fairy tale-ish, which wasn't quite the look I was going for. I love barrels. Barrels look amazing. I'm going to be using a lot of barrels in this island. So here starts the pumpkin pile. I have a few different heights with the barrel, the stone chair, the log stool, the stone stool, that's what it's called, the mush log stool. They're all nice and different heights. And then you have the spooky lantern set with the hay, which is a lovely addition as well. You can just keep piling them on as much as possible. And I just keep piling them on as much as possible. It takes me a while to really decide exactly where I want everything and which different colours I'd like to use. But you never know, in the future I might add even more pumpkins. We'll see. I'm quite happy with how this turned out. And it's quite difficult when you can't place the pumpkins themselves when you drop them. You can't put them on anything except a full square. It can't be halfway across the square, so as all of them are offset by 1 or 2, it makes it difficult to place the littler normal pumpkins. In the picture itself, there's lots of different coloured ones as well. There is green ones, there are white ones, there are yellow ones and orange ones, so yeah, the spooky set is just perfect. And I quickly put up some barbed wire fencing, which always looks great on farms. And I start to add some tools as well, because in the movie he has a spade, he has a axe, there's a wooden, a chopping axe, and also the scythe that the executioner uses to chop a pumpkin in half instead of buckbeak. It's kind of a representation of both. I really like the variation of colours of the pumpkins. It really makes it much more interesting. I think my favourite colour is probably the yellow pumpkins. How about you guys? It's really difficult when it gets this crowded to move things around as well. I really want to put something just behind here, but it just... I end up putting one little thing behind there. And I need more lantern sets. More. Yeah, so I'm generally happy with this. I felt that it just wasn't quite separate. Accidentally eating one there, as per usual. Wrong button pushing. Although there's no clothesline in the back of Hagrid's house, I felt that it would be... where else would he do his laundry? So I just put that in the background there. And I felt this area was a little bit too close to the pumpkin patch. I wanted to give it a bit more space. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to put a fence between it, but there's no fence in Hagrid's hut, really. So I found it difficult to separate this area, but I added a few more weeds later. I see in the movie that he has a cart with a pumpkin patch. A cart with a pumpkin in it, and I wanted to represent this, but the only cart there is the one with flowers in, which I put down just here, and it looks good. I like how it looks, but it again looks a bit too pretty. But until they add something else into the game that looks similar, I think this will be the way it is. So I'm just changed the spade, just trying to find where it looks best, and I end up going back to where it was originally. So always making things, then unmaking things. I want to use this garden faucet somewhere because I feel like it would really look nice in his garden area, but I always have this thing where I make things just too busy. I'm really bad at like knowing when to stop. I just want to keep adding things. I have so many ideas. Instead of stopping when I'm happy, I'm like, but this thing would look nice here too, but this thing would look nice here too. I can't stop. Here I start to do some more pathing underneath these trees just to give it a better foresty atmosphere, because the trees are close to each other and the snow hasn't fallen around them. Also, this is where Harry and Hermione hide from themselves and later on steal the hippogriff Buckbeak away from the executioner Fudge, and even from Hagrid and Dumbledore themselves. Here I start adding some roots just to add a bit of texture, and I finally finished roping off the area of the pumpkin patch so that Hagrid doesn't need any flesh-eating slug repellent. Although actually that's for the cabbages, isn't it? Oh, I could have done a cabbage patch. Maybe next time. Maybe later. So I think this wall will go across the edge of the Forbidden Forest, because in the photo you can see a wall behind Hagrid's house. But in some of the rest of the movie I don't remember there being a wall, but for now that's where it's going. You can see Whitney hanging around in her Santa hat as I built this on Christmas Eve, December 24th. And do you guys know how to get rid of Snowboy's Did they just melt after a few days? Because that guy was almost in the way of me building. I mean, he looks cute there, don't get me wrong. But, yeah. So this area is looking nice and messy, adding some more weeds, just as I want it. Really natural looking, overgrown, etc, etc. Just adding some more decor to the left-hand side quickly there. And just a bunch of small touches, trying to make it look interesting but not too busy. A real fine line for me. A lot of just viewing what I've done so far. I try and put down some of these Sirius Black poster papers, but it makes it feel too crowded, so I'll probably put some behind it in the Forbidden Forest instead. I really like these log stacks. Is that what they're called? Log stakes. Stacks. Yeah, log stakes. They really give a homely vibe. I don't know. I feel like when I used to go for walks when I was a kid, there'd always be these really low log stakes that you could like walk across. So it really reminds me of UK countryside, which is where this is set. I really need someone to help me just stop with the decorating. Like, let me know when where the line is. I decided to keep the fireplace off because that's the way it is in the picture, and it makes it feel more dark, which is what generally the Harry Potter universe is like. Just doing some finishing touches, or so I thought. So originally I thought this was near the end of my build. I was really happy with what this looked like. But then I did a villager hunting stream, link in the description or above, check it out if you like. And I showed you guys this area, and Kimia suggested to me, oh, you should do a dragon. And she sent me a link of this video. And inspired by that, I decided to add a dragon in the background, just as a reference to Hagrid's love of dragons and to Norbert in the first film. I tried two different things, one with the Spino and the T-Rex as a combo, plus the wings. And then I just tried the Spino's tail and head, and I like that one the best. So here it is. So this is Hagrid's hut. I'm really happy with this build. It was really fun to do. It wasn't as long as some of my other builds, and it was nice using the pumpkins items. They look so cute and wonderful. I love the lore behind all of this, and yeah, it was just a lot of fun to build. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, and if you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!